Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining today's webinar. This is Channel Vision editor Gerald Baldino here, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. We're very excited to welcome P2 Business Solutions and MACH Networks for a discussion on their ability to deliver 4G today and 5G in the very near future. Joining us today is P2 CEO Bill Patchett and MACH Networks CEO Don Ochoa. If you have any questions at all during the presentation, please submit them through the Q&A portal located at the bottom of the Zoom portal. A Q&A session will take place at the end of the webinar. At this point, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Bill to begin.
Thank you, Gerald. First, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to join today's webinar. It's very much appreciated. To kick things off, for those of you that don't know me personally, my name is Bill Patchett with Stanford-based P2 Telecom. If you're not familiar with us, we are a master agency with primary focuses in the wireless space and have been for almost 7 years now. For today's educational webinar, we will be focusing on MACH Networks, our preferred partner in the 4G and 5G fully managed WLAN space. So again, thank you for your time. Please be on the lookout for an email from Don and myself after this webinar is finished today for some pretty aggressive promos for those of you that attended. On that note, I would like to turn the conversation over to my friend and CEO of MACH, Don Ochoa.
Great. Thank you very much, Bill. Pleasure to be here with all of you today. Thanks for joining the call. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We're really going to kind of cover the aspects of where we are with 4G today, the solutions that are offered, and really what's happening with the 5G market community, what's coming down the pike, and how we can help you get ready. The short version is that we make it very quick, very easy, and very profitable for you to add wireless WAN connectivity solutions to your portfolio. When I say that, what I mean is things like wireless failover, connectivity for SD-WAN, digital signage, applications that will use the AT&T or Verizon network, and then a router from a company like Cradlepoint. We've really tied those two together with P2 Telecom to create a pretty compelling go-to-market offering for the telecom agent channel out there. One of the big differences is that our solutions are fully managed. We do not just sell you a router and a data plan. We sell you the router, we sell you the data plan, but we also manage the devices. We handle the fulfillment. We handle the configuration. We make sure they're the right devices for the application. We also offer a service on the nation's largest, fastest, and most reliable networks, AT&T and Verizon Wireless. And I guess the last element here is that we only lead with enterprise-class hardware. There are a ton of device manufacturers or OEMs out there today that really may not have an enterprise-class solution, which means something that has good remote management capabilities. But when you look at something like Cradlepoint, it really is a best-of-breed solution. So we've tied those together with the two best carriers and the leading provider, OEM provider of LTE devices, and really have a nice wide breadth of solutions we can help take to market. So first of all, I think we all know the industry is changing, and it's the kind of thing where you can kind of go along as far as you can and as long as you can until you're really forced to change, or you can embrace it and kind of get ready for it now. LTE really crosses both over 4G and 5G. So what you're doing today is really going to make it easier for you to adapt LTE solutions for 5G coming in the very near future. But why do you really want to build the practice? It's pretty clear. A, you still get your upfront commission on the hardware, but you also can share in the monthly recurring revenue. And that's pretty compelling because I think a lot of you out there who may have sold LTE solutions in the past may have bought a device from somewhere and gotten a kickback from the carrier one time, and then they took over the account for you. We don't work that way. We actually share the monthly recurring revenue with you so you can realize that. And that's pretty key because if you look at how you value companies today, monthly recurring revenue has a 3x multiple on the valuation of the company versus a one-time sell like the router sells. So it's pretty compelling for your business as well. It also opens up new markets and opportunities. The customer loyalty aspect is extremely high because they really will expect you to be at the forefront of knowledge. What's coming down the pike? What should we be getting ready for? What's next? So by doing that, it really helps differentiate your company. And again, I said this before, but I'll say it again. LTE is a key step on the path to 5G. Again, the LTE is the element that allows the signal to penetrate buildings, walls, windows, penetration. It provides the mobility component so that if you're on the move, you still have that connectivity. 5G won't deliver that on its own without LTE. So I guess the simplest thing to do is start with wireless failover. I think we all understand what that is. If your primary network connection goes down for your business, well, the cellular network kicks in, the traffic's routed over the cellular network until your router and your network connection, your landline connection comes back online. Very easy to understand, very easy to sell. Virtually everybody needs it. But, you know, we just wanted to point that out as a great place to start. The MACH ecosystem is pretty interesting. Starting with P2, I mentioned earlier that we really choose best-in-breed partners. We believe that P2 is one of the best in the industry. Very, very good at what they do. They understand wireless, and they have a great channel. When we couple that with much more than just a router and a data plan, but enterprise-class monitoring and management of devices and the usage, as well as the hardware from industry leaders like Cradlepoint, you'll find something pretty interesting out there. Unlike most of the providers out there, we do not mark up the hardware very much because we want to get the data plan. So we actually subsidize the cost of the hardware. You may want to buy a $600 Cradlepoint router and end up paying $400 from us, for example. We really do care about making it accessible, getting the price points down so that it's accessible market for SMBs and enterprise customers, and you don't have to worry about it, you paying too much for a router or not. Then the other thing we do is kind of unique is that we provide LTE services on the best available network. We conduct a coverage analysis, multi-carrier coverage analysis, so we can tell you who's got the best coverage at that specific address. Is it Verizon? Is it AT&T? The reality is we can't tell you who's got the best service, but it does enable us to know who has the worst service. So let's say that you have good service in both areas, but maybe the building penetration isn't as good on AT&T. We're going to know that, so we're going to suggest that you use Verizon Wireless at that location, or vice versa. So it's not just the router. Providing the best service possible for each location is critical to what we do today. And then we couple that with these industry leaders, the Cradlepoints, the BECs, the Digis, the Incegos, Peplinks, and Sierra Wireless. There are a lot of other manufacturers out there, but we really want to align ourselves with the industry leaders. That's also why we picked P2 to really go to market for this community. Our value proposition is kind of interesting. We're one of the few companies who really aren't just trying to shove one carrot down anybody's throat. We're really agnostic because we know that if we're not providing the best service for each location, they're going to change and it's going to be a problem for us down the road. We also map to simplify, make the ordering process very easy, the qualification process very easy, and we do that. We have the tools in place now that we just didn't have before to be able to support that. We provide all the routers we sell, and we directly support all the devices we sell. So that means that if there is an issue with the device, you're not calling the manufacturer, you're not calling the carrier, you're not calling a 1-800 number of somebody who has no idea what you're talking about. You're going to be contacting a customer who will get this to resolution. In fact, we have a 92% resolution rate within 20 minutes on the first call. So we're pretty good at that. The failover, I think, is self-explanatory. You can very quickly go from 3 or even 4 nines of reliability up to 5 nines of reliability. And if you're a business that's taking credit cards, that's critical. You can't afford to have your network down because that means you cannot process online orders or you cannot take credit cards. Our tech support is very, very strong. In fact, we have, for example, 5 certified Cradlepoint professionals on staff, and that's more than anybody else in the U.S. except for Cradlepoint. So we take it very seriously, and we really are able to focus on supporting the complete solution. I talked about the enterprise class routers and modems. We do offer a subsidy, $50 or even up to $75 subsidy to help offset the cost of the router. That's after discounting. So we really do take that seriously as well. We offer no overage LTE plans. These are kind of interesting because they're based on speed, not how much data you're pumping through it each month. We offer no overage LTE plans for 3 megabits at a rate of 3 megabits per second 8 megabits a second, 12 megabits a second, and 50 megabits a second. So it's kind of a unique path to market for things like landline or replacement, which is going to get much more common as time goes by. For all the devices that we fulfill and configure, we support them directly, but we also monitor them. We'll make sure they have the latest and greatest firmware. We'll make sure that they're alive and ready should they be called upon. We actually proactively monitor all our devices that are out in the field today, but we also do that for your usage. We look at usage as a problem, not a profit center. So the fact that we send daily usage alerts and alarms makes a big difference and helps protect our customers and our partners from incurring significant overage charges. We also offer private network services, which, you know, it's a nice little must-have for some companies, but I think one of the key takeaways here is we're doing this today for some of the largest landline service providers in the nation. Service providers like Windstream, Nitel, CBTS, Hawaiian Telecom, and others. A large number of them use us today to fulfill their white label solutions for wireless failover, for SD-WAN connectivity, for day one internet. And so that's out there, it's in place today, and we just wanted to make it available to the P2 ecosystem, and that's what we're doing today. We did want to give you an idea of what our solutions look like. Digital signage and video surveillance. You can start off with the router and a 5 gig plan for under $75 a month. And digital signage is interesting because it really allows for real-time targeted messaging to your customers. And for video surveillance, allows you to place cameras wherever you need them to be and still have connectivity back to the network so you can monitor that traffic in real time. You can get a cradle point router that is ruggedized and a 5 gig plan, for example, starting at under $75 a month. Again, I think we all know what business continuity or wireless failover is, but at the end of the day, for under $50 a month, we have wireless failover solutions that are extremely reliable. In fact, we have over, I'd say, 12,000 distinct customers that are using these today. And that doesn't mean one site per customer. These are 12,000 different customers that are utilizing this today just for wireless failover. So again, it's something that's every business should be thinking about. Last year, actually in 2018, we did the largest SD-WAN deployment in the nation using LTE. We did that for Windstream, and it was for a very large auto parts retailer, but it was a great way to cut our teeth on this. And now we're actually doing more SD-WAN connectivity using LTE than we are wireless failover. And those are typically larger data plans also, so there is higher margin to be made. If you're spending $75 a month, that means you're going to be sharing that recurring revenue for the lifetime of the customer. ATMs and kiosks, those are typically smaller plans. You don't need a lot of data, but prices start well under $50 a month there as well. Transportation, rugged applications. Again, we're just throwing another 5 gig plan on here. You get a ruggedized router like Cradlepoint 900. You put it on a 5 gig plan, fully managed, and prices start at $75 a month. So it's kind of an easy button to get these solutions out to market. One of the newer offerings that we have that we've seen a lot of success with is our day one internet access. That's where you may be waiting for a week, a month, or even 2 or 3 months to get a circuit installed, and your customer just can't wait. In fact, you might lose that customer if they have to wait 2 or 3 months. While we offer unlimited data plan for up to 90 days, just note it will not be extended, but up to 90 days we can offer an unlimited data plan. At the end of that 90 days, we just flip that to a wireless failover connection, and your customer's good to go. It allows you to deploy these solutions in days or even hours instead of weeks or even months. We get a lot of questions about how 4G and 5G compare. So this is a very simplistic comparison, and it's very broad-based, and it's very much approximate, but I wanted to give you an idea of what the capabilities are for each. 4G today delivers on average, and this isn't even LTE advanced, this is just standard LTE, delivers about 10 megabits a second, For 5G, we're looking at about 1 gigabit per second. So the speeds increase. The latency is much faster as well. 4G is about 50 milliseconds of latency. 5G is about 1 millisecond of latency. So it allows a whole new category of applications that can be done using the wireless network, such as auto-driving vehicles. You don't have an extra 100 milliseconds to adjust your vehicle before a crash, or 100 milliseconds for somebody doing surgery on a patient in New York but doing it from California. You need low latency. So that 1 millisecond latency, it really is a big deal. The devices, that's basically saying if you're in a stadium, you always wonder why you cannot get a cell phone call or text somebody because all the lines are busy. Well, 4G, you're getting maybe 1,000 connections per square mile. 5G will give you over 1 million connections per square mile. So again, the speed, the latency, and the devices that can be supported out there in a certain geographic area, all of that is a vast improvement of what was able to be offered with LTE using 4G. But here's the common denominator, LTE. LTE spans both 4G and 5G. It just gives you the stepping stone you need to kind of get ready for what's happening with the next evolution of networking and telecommunications. And 5G is it. That's where things are going. And this is how we can get you going today using LTE and tomorrow using LTE with 5G, earning monthly recurring commissions on this next generation of connectivity. I thought this slide was kind of interesting. It's really from the service provider perspective, but it tells you why the service providers are so focused on 5G and offering it to their customer base. Network leadership. If they're not perceived as leading the community, they're viewed as followers. Well, AT&T, Verizon, the other large ones, they need to have a leadership position, or their customers are going to go to the guys who are leaders. So that's the number one reason. The customer experience. If it's a poor customer experience, you're going to find another provider. They have to enhance and grow and improve the customer experience. You just saw a few of the reasons of why 5G is going to be such a game changer, but that customer experience is the real bottom line as to why that's the case. The next two are kind of interesting to me. Everybody talks about 5G being built to support the Internet of Things. That's actually third on the list, and it's tied with capacity expansion. Gives you more bandwidth, more capacity. At the same time, many, many more devices are going to be using the network. So this is not just an IoT type application that's going to be using the 5G network. It is real world SMB or enterprise class network connectivity. And so again, getting involved with LTE today is going to give you the tools you need to be successful tomorrow with 5G. Coming down the pike, right? Transportation, like I said, auto-driving vehicles or healthcare. These are the type of things where you don't have 100 millisecond or 300 milliseconds of latency. You do not have that margin for error. Financial services and retail, energy and utilities, manufacturing, large-scale events like sporting events. All of these are going to be affected by 5G and what they can deliver and how they deliver it. So these are the type of applications you'll be selling LTE in tomorrow, in the near future. It's coming. The way I look at it, by the way, I still think 5G is about 2 years away before really being pretty much everywhere. 2 to 3 years away, but you'll really start to see it kick in about 2 years. In the meantime, everybody's going to be getting ready. Most of the device manufacturers do not have a true 5G capable device or modem in their devices. Right now, it's kind of a hodgepodge of this device connecting to a 5G connection somehow. But as more devices have 5G built into them, you have direct connectivity to the network, and that's when things are going to change. So what's in it for you? First of all, you're going to be able to provide your customers with the right solution, and it will be properly supported. We're not going to sell you a ruggedized router for a failover application, and we're not going to sell you a failover router for a device that needs to go in a truck. It will be the proper solution, and we will support the whole thing. The device, the connection, the usage, the remote monitoring management, the fulfillment. It really is a fully managed solution. and you will have the ability to earn both one-time upfront commissions, plus you'll share in a percentage of the monthly recurring commission for the lifetime of the customer. So that's really all I had to talk about today. I'd be happy to answer questions, but now's the time to really get on the path to LTE, because when 5G hits, if you're not doing it now, you're going to be behind the curve. And that's all I have. I'll turn it back over to Bill, and we could be happy to answer any more questions.
Thanks, Don. I think you did a great job. So, Gerald, are you going to open it up for a Q&A session right now and have people ask questions for us?
I think that's a great idea. So the floor is open. If you have any questions, just go to the bottom of the Zoom platform and enter them in the Q&A portal. I guess we can start off by maybe talking a little bit about maybe some common questions that people are asking you. What are you finding, like, from people in the field? How are they approaching you guys?
Well, this is Don, and for us, what we're hearing are a lot of questions about how do we get ready for 5G? When's it going to happen? They're also starting to understand that they need to get involved with LTE sooner rather than later. Something interesting happened with the AT&T ecosystem, for example. When we were moved into the AT&T as an ecosystem partner, we found out that the vast majority of their partners or agents had zero experience selling LTE solutions or LTE connectivity. They're used to selling T1s, used to selling landlines. Every one of them, however, was very interested in learning more about what they needed to learn about 5G so they could be prepared to take it to market. So I think a lot of the questions we get are around, is it really ready to go? If not, when's it going to be ready, and what do we have to do to get ready? And I think by getting involved with LTE today, whether it's for wireless failover, SD-WAN connectivity, digital signage, transportation, connecting ATMs and kiosks, that is just a path to 5G, and that is probably one of the most common questions we get asked. The other one's about SD-WAN. A lot of companies are picking up on SD-WAN now, and they're actually starting to look at LTE as a landline as a solution that's comparable to landline services. Now, when 5G really hits, I think that's definitive. It absolutely will compete with landline services. In the meantime, while things are 4G, maybe there are some bandwidth limitations, or maybe it's not unlimited, so they can't use it for everything. They're starting to realize that wireless really is taking over, and when 5G hits, it's going to be a paradigm shift for the entire industry.
Okay, thank you. A question from Brian that just came in. What will be required from the customer to migrate from 4G to 5G when it becomes available in the market the device is located in?
Great question. The reality is this could be a hardware swap out. In some devices, you'll be able to swap out the modem that's in the device, which does mean a truck roll. In other cases, you have to move from a 4G LTE device to a 5G device. Now, in all fairness, there really aren't any 5G routers out there today that can be directly installed at the customer site because the networks aren't ready and they haven't really started building the devices yet. That's obviously going to change. When the cradle points of the world start embedding true 5G modules into devices, things will change. You'll see a lot of companies that are 5G capable, 5G ready, 5G-able. And what they're really saying is, look, we have the ability that when 5G is ready to upgrade what you have by swapping out the module or maybe even doing a hardware swap, but it doesn't mean they're ready to go with 5G today.
Okay, great. One thing I think we might want to expand a little bit on is the concept of you touched on being seen as a network leader. Maybe we can expand on that a little bit and talk about how you can enable that for your customers.
Talk about how what? I'm sorry.
Maybe just about how becoming a leader in the space and why that's important, and how now basically you can use the next couple of years to really get in on this opportunity.
Oh, sure. It's kind of interesting. We got started about 10, 11 years ago using 3G services for XL communications. They needed a failover solution. And we decided to build a business around it. And then when 4G hit, we really started showing the value in our value proposition became, we make it easy for you to basically add these solutions to your portfolio. But for the last 8 years, we've really focused on the service provider community, the ones who would take these solutions like a Windstream, who would take these solutions, market and sell them as their own, but they get the back end from us, they get the support from us, they get the routers from us, they get the data plans from us. We monitor and manage it for them, but they sell it as their own. Well, since then, we've signed up about 20 large national service providers to basically use us as their fulfillment partner for LTE solutions, primarily wireless failover, SD-WAN connectivity, and day one internet access. And just fairly recently, last year, we started talking to Bill about expanding this into the channel partner community beyond the service provider community, taking these exact same solutions that we're providing for our service provider partners and making them available for the telco channel. And that's where we're at today.
Okay, one question we might want to focus on is maybe, I guess, rural connectivity and how you're helping some customers in that space.
You're cutting out a little bit there. What kind of connectivity?
Maybe talk a little about rural America and how you're helping some companies out in that space. Are you involved in any rural areas?
Oh yeah. So first of all, we all know that cell signal is not available everywhere. It covers something like 98% of the U.S. population. So that's that's pretty significant, and that's the part that we have covered. But there are always going to be areas, rural areas, where there just is no cell signal. So we actually offer satellite services for that to really backfill for that. And where there may be some signal, they can use LTE as the backup connection, or they can use the satellite services for the primary or for the backup connection. But what we're going to see eventually here, as the build out continues, 5G will start to plug even more holes that are out there today with 4G. But that is going to take quite a while, just as anybody would expect.
Okay, just want to remind people the Q&A session is still open here. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them here still. I guess maybe if you want to maybe just provide a little bit of a recap and some key takeaways for our listeners and some maybe just some thoughts as to what you want people to be thinking of after this webinar.
Sure. I think at the end of the day, what is the quickest, easiest way for you to get ready for 5G? And to do that today, you have plenty of opportunities to sell 4G LTE solutions through P2 Telecom. They offer a wide breadth of solutions. Working with them, it makes it easy for you to sell them, or we're going to fulfill them and do the support, and you can move on to your next opportunity but still retain that monthly recurring commission. We will continue to be adding more applications and more solutions as time goes by. But the fact that you can go buy a router and a data plan that's right-sized for a specific application is pretty neat. We have bundled solutions, for example, where you can get the router and the data plan and the support fully managed for under $50 a month. Or you can just go out and buy a router and add the data plan and the management on top of that. We offer both vehicles to get that to market. But I think P2 is just really starting to open that up and really make it widely available. So, feel free to reach out to P2 or to us if you have any questions about the application, if you need help qualifying an opportunity. If you just want to learn more, feel free to reach out to myself or to Bill, and we have our names and numbers up there on the screen, and we'd be happy to answer your questions.
Okay, one more question that just came in from Brian, who would like to know if you offer an unlimited plan or if there's an overage with the examples that you displayed.
Yeah, we offer no overage LTE plans. We're not allowed to use the word unlimited, just because at the end of the day, the way that the truth of the matter is, the way that carriers framed it up, you can call them no overage plans, but they're not really unlimited data plans. The only true unlimited data plan that we have where we can't throttle speed or can't throttle cap out the usage amount is the 90-day day one internet product. Other than that, even if you buy a no overage LTE 8 megabit per second or 12 megabit per second plan, they're going to have heartburn if you're using a terabit of data per day or per week or even for the month. But if you're using less than 50 gig or so a month on average per device, it's not going to be as much of an issue. But to call them unlimited data plans really isn't fair. That will change, by the way, because they can throttle, they can cut off your bandwidth, they can shut you off at a certain point. But as 5G really starts to become more ubiquitous, you will see more truly unlimited data plans come to market. We also offer a no overage LTE for wireless failover, which is kind of unique. It's basically the device has to be properly set up for failover, so it's only being used for failover. And believe me, we know when it's not. It's pretty easy to detect the patterns. And so we do have a no overage LTE for wireless failover, and we're starting to see quite a bit of runway with that. We also can cross-pull the carriers. So we can cross-pull AT&T and Verizon Wireless. If you have 100 AT&T plans and 100 Verizon 1 gig plans for failover, it's really, you have 200 LTE plans for failover. And so we give you that choice. You could do one or the other there.
All right, excellent. I think that should probably wrap this up here. Thank you to P2 and MACH Networks, to our presenters, Bill Patchett and Don Ochoa, and of course, to all of you for attending today's event. Just a reminder, to access this presentation on demand, please visit channelvision.com/webinars. For more information on P2, please visit p2agents.com, and you can find MACH Networks at machnetworks.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Thank you all.